Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to the video. This is a paid request for Cindy. Thank you so much for that. I apologize to people for the lateness of some of these videos. I'm trying to get them out as soon as I can, but thank you for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, Cindy wanted me to talk about Modern Problems from 1981. Now, this is a film I had seen before and I was not a fan of, but I'm like, okay, let me give it another shot. Maybe I could warm up to it the second time around. No. I hated this movie. I do not. To Cindy, if you like the film, that's cool. To each their own. I'm sorry. But I do not like this movie. And here's the thing, I know Chevy Chase has the smarmy attitude. It works well in films like Caddyshack, National Lampoon's Vacation, Christmas Vacation. I haven't liked Nothing But Trouble. This one, though, I thought was very lackluster. I don't think it was that funny. It was fairly mean spirited. It didn't really know where it wanted to go with the story, with its plot. It felt very slow. It felt like some of the characters, they didn't know how to utilize them. And Chevy Chase is such an unlikable character in this movie that many times he felt like a villain. He acted like a damn villain, honestly. And let me shed some light into this. Literally, so 1 second. But yeah, he just felt like a villain in this movie. At least to me. But it came out in 1981. The person who made it done The Groove Tube, which is kind of a comedy anthology in a way. I don't know how else to put it. And it gets a 5.0 on IMDb. I just see why it's that low. I would put it lower. Chevy Chase is an air traffic controller, and I'm like, okay, if I want to see a comedy where your lead guy is an air traffic controller, I'll go watch Summer Rental with John Tandy. And there's potential for comedy, like he's going home and all the different ways his car gets messed up, where he's like driving behind and there's like feathers hitting him, and then all his tape deck and rips up the cassette tape, and his car gets scratched and all this stuff. He gets home, his girlfriend has left him because he's a very possessive, jealous guy. But after that, it's just him being a morose, distant, possessive, jealous ass. And even his performance, like Chevy Chase feels like he doesn't want to be there. He's kind of going around with this morose look on his face, like he's depressed. He'll talk with his ex-wife. He'll talk with his buddy, Brian Doyle Murray, who's Bill Murray's brother. He's this Vietnam vet in a wheelchair. It just goes off as very slow. Just a very slow film. There's a publisher press party at a gay nightclub, just because. Dabney Coleman, he tries to bring something to the picture as a guy whose work is being published, but he can't do a whole lot to fix this movie. I think you have Chevy just being more morose. He goes home. He's behind this tanker where this radioactive waste gets onto him in his car. He glows green. The effects are bad. I know it's 1981, but the effects look like from 1951, like one of those Disney movies. The Absent-Minded Professor type of stuff. That's what the effects look like with the green glow around him. And now he's got the power of telekinesis. And he has this weird dream where he's a plane. I get he's the air traffic controller, but it's just weird to have he's a plane doing this, and there's shots of like lights on him, and then he crashes. I'm like, that's a weird dream, and didn't really think it was funny. And then there's him kind of understanding his power. Now, okay, Chevy Chase has a superpower, a lot of comedic possibilities. So what's one of the first things? He is in the shower. The soap slips. He's in a litter. It goes to a litter box. He makes it rise. Every time he does something, there's gotta be this goofy sound effect. And he takes the soap and he goes over and rinses it in the sink and goes up to him and he's like, "Oh, kiss." I'm like, number one, if you have a bar of soap and it goes to the litter box, then it's going to the garbage. Why would you continue to use soap from a litter box? I don't care how much water you put on it. It was in a litter box. Cat piss and shit are on it. You just don't have cat piss and shit rubbing on your body. It's soap. It'll clean it up eventually. But I'm sorry. Give me another bar of soap. I'm sure you should have more than one bar of soap. And I'm like, okay, we showed a bit of his power. How else are we going to utilize his gifts? Him being a complete psychopathic ass. That's how. So this guy that may not be the most likable guy, but okay, he's going out with his ex-girlfriend. Well, first off, your girlfriend dumped you. This guy, he's going out with her. I mean, he wasn't being too much of a dick. It's like, okay, he's the new boyfriend. So what does Chevy Chase do? Makes the guy nosebleed. And it makes him bleed more and more and more to the point a geyser of blood comes out of this guy's nose. In this PG movie, by the way, PG. I'm like, this guy's spilling up so much blood, he's gonna die. Dead like dinner. He's gonna be dead. It's just horrific. It's so mean-spirited. Fuck this guy, Chevy Chase's character. Why am I supposed to like this guy? Where in this movie am I supposed to like this guy and think he is a good boyfriend, a good material for this lady, someone that we should root for? That's my question. I know some friends might like the movie, and that's fine, to each their own. Why am I supposed to root for this guy? He's morose, he's depressing, he's possessive, he's jealous. He makes this guy just spit out blood out of his nose at the end, ready to kill him? Ready to murder him? Which is horrific. I was ready for his head to explode like Stanners. Then on top of that, this bit he goes to the ballet. Because the boyfriend and his girlfriend are up there. This poor guy on stage who's just doing his job as a ballet performer. Chevy is just throwing him around, making him slip over here, throwing him and toss him over here, makes his fucking crotch explode. Thankfully just the front of his pants and not his actual crotch. I'm like, okay, you're humiliating this guy, you're hurting this guy, you're physically abusing this guy, and people are going to look at him and go, you ruined it, you're fired. So you don't get this guy fired. And this guy did nothing to Chevy Chase. He did nothing to him. This is a complete innocent guy. And then there's this Chevy just like, making these buddy. I'm like, that's what I want to do, the Chevy's character. Fuck this guy in his ass. Horrible character, horrible. God. So then he sees the girlfriend, gives her multiple orgasms, but then he walks away to make coffee while he's giving her multiple orgasms. I'm like, well, number one, won't this girl realize, wait, Chevy is nowhere near me. Maybe I'm having this myself. Like, okay, she doesn't know he's got power. She can clearly tell she's by herself. And that somehow is going to endear her to Chevy. More like, oh, I don't need you, man. Maybe it's the bed. Is it the shoes? Maybe it's whatever we ate tonight. I don't know. But something made me have all these orgasms. Oh, right. Wasn't you, because you left to make coffee. And what is the joke of that? Like, what is the actual joke to make that funny? Okay, when Harry met Sally, the joke of that is Meg Ryan faking it. And the joke is the lady going, I'll have what she's having. That's the punchline. There's no punchline here for that. You're waiting for Chevy Chase to say this punchline. Must have been some good caviar. Or this wine must have been a great year. Or something like that. There's no punchline to it. So it's just there for nothing. So it leads to them going to a beach house where Brian Doyle Murray is there. Which it seems like he was going to be more of an important character. Now he's just a fly on the wall. Dabney Coleman's there. A couple other people, including the maid, who she's into voodoo. They spend some time there. And then Chevy just starts going crazy. He picks up White Mouse for no reason. I guess it's his possessive, jealous nature. So that also somehow makes him turn into like a ghoul. He'll see his face glowing green, but then nobody else sees it. I didn't really see the girl. I mean, well, that's the point. I didn't really see his girlfriend flirting with Dabney Coleman, but again, this guy, he's jealous, he's possessive, that's his character. So he makes Dabney Coleman float around. And then, like, Dabney got steered, and was he going to drown himself in the ocean? So Chevy's going to push him to drown himself? That I can infer that's because he's being jealous and possessive, but the way it was done is so poorly. I was literally sitting there going, why is he going so crazy? Why is he going so nuts? If he had like conversations or a fight or any verbal disagreement, something about that again and again and again, like him trying to fight it, calm down, trying to fight it, calm down, and it rises and rises and rises, and it explodes in this fury, that'd be one thing. But I'm like, nothing has really happened, and now he's going crazy. It's like when the voodoo lady thinks he's possessed, then he starts acting like a possessed person. I'm like, okay, is this a movie about a guy with superpowers, or is this a guy possessed by the devil? It's almost as if they said, well, we want to do an Exorcist parody, but actually, let's make it a superhero, but let's leave remnants of the Exorcist parody. So then he starts acting possessed. Okay, if he wants to be mad and jealous and he's doing things to be a dick, but again, why is he acting possessed? Is this like, well, the power is making him go crazy? I don't think they really worded that in the script that well. That the more you have this power, the more crazy you get. They don't mention that. I would have to think about that in the ether of thin fucking air. He's just going crazy because the script told him to. Is it the power making him go crazy? Well, the script doesn't really tell us that. Is it because he's possessive, jealous? Well, I can infer that because of much earlier in the film. But the movie doesn't do a good job because this director really didn't do much as a director. He wasn't much of a director, which is why his career went nowhere. So instead, Chevy's talking like Donald Duck, or he's floating around. The one memorable scene is a scene that if anybody thinks of this movie, it's the only scene they remember, and there's a reason for it. The voodoo lady has all this powder. Chevy snorts it up. You see it all go into his nose, like cocaine. He turns, you see the cocaine face is like, yeah, I liked it. Because that's the only laugh you could ever get in this movie. The only laugh. If you don't laugh at that scene, you're not laughing at anything in the movie. That's the only scene that I went, the only one with a sense of life to it, with a punchline, with like, it's like that's the only dad they had to work with. And anytime you see this film referenced, if ever, which is very, very rare, people don't remember this movie for a good reason, that's the one scene they referenced. It's the only scene worthwhile of any sort. Because soon after, he goes on the roof, then he's like, I'm a monster, blah, blah, blah. Wait, you really love me? Well, I love you too. They hug. Now he's perfectly fine. Some lightning hits. I guess it transfers his power to the TV, and then it goes into the maid. Barely even remember what's happened with Dabney Coleman. Brian Doyle Murray and the ex-wife disappeared. They left, they disappeared. They don't really become big important parts of the finale. Chevy and his girlfriend looked at the sunset, and then the movie's over. I'm like, this movie is just one of the worst Chevy Chase films I've seen. One of the worst. Now, I have not seen all of his movies. I'm just saying, if I looked at Chevy Chase's filmography, and actually, you know what, that'd be an interesting bit. 1 second. If I looked at Chevy Chase's filmography, again, this is of the ones I've seen. I've not seen all of them. His later films, I haven't seen them. But if I'm looking at his filmography, again, of the ones I've seen, give me a minute. Apologize. Should have had this up before, I know. So he was in the Groove Tube, so that's how he knew the director. If I don't, I think that's, I think I got that confused with another movie, so I don't think I've seen that one. Satirizes TV and counterculture. Caddyshack, I do like. After this, he did National Lampoon's Vacation. I enjoy that. Fletch, I enjoy that. European Vacation, I'm not a fan, but I would rather watch that than this film. Spies Like Us, I don't mind. Three Amigos is okay. Funny Farm, that was an entertaining one. Caddyshack 2. God. Caddyshack 2 is really bad. I'd rather watch Caddyshack 2 than this. What? Yes, because Caddyshack 2 sucks as well, just like I think this film sucks. But Caddyshack 2, at least, I did say positives of... Chevy Chase tells the audience he doesn't care, pretty much in that movie. So his few bits, I think, were funnier than anything in this movie. I like the song Nobody's Fool by, what's his name? Kenny Loggins. I'm going all the way. But it is a bad movie. It does suck. Fletch Lives is disappointing, but not as bad as this movie. Crucifixion is fun. Nothing But Trouble is fun. Memoirs of Invisible Man I'm not a fan of, but I'd rather watch that than this movie. Cops and Robertsons, time waster. Man of the House, I haven't seen that in ages. I remember that being time waster. Vegas Vacation was fun. Dirty Work I didn't mind. Orange County was there. Hot Tub Time Machine was entertaining. These other ones I haven't seen. Panda vs. Aliens. Zombie Town. Yeah, I haven't seen these. But again, the only one to really compare to is Caddyshack 2, and Caddyshack 2 is so horrible when it's compared to the first Caddyshack. It's a terrible movie. I looked as, gun to my head, which I would rather watch. Caddyshack 2, at least I could listen to the song Nobody's Fool, which I really like that song. I could watch Chevy Chase not giving a crap. Here, it was hard to watch. There's nothing in this movie I liked except that one scene I mentioned. There's nothing. The girlfriend is a very bland character. Dabney Coleman is trying. That's maybe the second thing that he give credit to. He's a talented guy. Brian Doyle Murray's not giving much to do. I thought Chevy Chase was awful. Like I said, he looked bored. He was morose. And like I said, he's just a hateful character. That's another thing. He plays such a hateful character that it just felt so mean-spirited to watch. That I did not want him to succeed. I'm like, you don't deserve to get the girl at the end. You don't deserve it. And again, this whole thing where it becomes this, like I said, it becomes this exorcism parody by the end. I'm like, this felt out of nowhere. But yeah, I just did not find this film entertaining. If folks out there did, be my guest. Again, I know some of my friends really liked they really liked the movie, but not for me. So sorry to Cindy, but just not for me. And I mentioned a lot of Chevy Chase films I liked. Like I said, even the ones like Memoirs of Invisible Man and National Lampoon's European Vacation, I'd rather watch over this. So I guess, yeah, the worst Chevy Chase film I've seen so far would have been this one. Just, again, for how hateful the character was. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.